What's up everyone, CR2 here. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be going through the Qualify Practice Guide for 87s at Chicagoland. Coming up on week 10, I believe. When I said Chicagoland, Martinsville, Las Vegas, so week 10 I believe this is. And season's almost coming to a close. Just really quickly over track conditions. 82. I had one start up a little bit ago. It was at 78 degrees. I've had one that started up at 84. So we're going to roll with this one. Low 80s to start your session is probably likely. And as usual with my guides lately, 45% on the track use. And also mostly cloudy weather, partly to mostly cloudy. So you might get lucky with some cloud cover during your quali run. I like +6 on the steering wheel. And as far as for quali, I think I went down as low as 47.6 and the darn thing still didn't break loose. So hell, I may have even gone lower than that. But as far as race, we're probably going to want to start at something like 50.8. Double check that track temp, 81. So slowly cooling down. Good cloud cover rolling in, so this is going to be a fast quali lap. Roll up next to the wall, a slight lift, but once you set your nose, you can pretty much just full throttle it all the way till you're out of the turn. Cut the apron here. 179, 178 to start. A little bit of brake, get to that white line. Full throttle it, straighten out a little bit as you approach the wall. A little bit of more brake again, get to that white line. Throttle once you're at the line. Oh yeah, I definitely actually I'm comparing to a high line quali run. So that's a 32.45. We're actually going to compare because high line in 3 and 4 is usable for your quali lap. I just like low because the car rotates a little more naturally in my opinion. '78 again. A little bit of brake. Make sure you don't hit that wall, of course. Make your line as short as, make your run as short as possible to the line, and that's a 32.50. And if you're able to make the high line in 3 and 4 work, then awesome to you. I just can't. It doesn't feel natural to this car to me. You just need a little bit more rotation from the car set. On 2 tires though, I'm very sure the high line is useful in both turns. 80, so still cooling off a little bit. Go on back and go and look back at those laps. 178 at the line. If you're able to, I've had good runs to the line at 179, even 180. So if you're able to get 180 at the line, you're off to a really good start for your lap. You're really gonna charge it. Lift and brake just before you hit the safer barrier. A little bit of trail brake, get your nose down to that white line. I feel like I took a little bit too long. And that's probably easily half a tenth left off the table. There's a lot of speed if you can hook that white line from the center to exit. really feel like I left a lot of speed on the table off of turn 4 for the low line. But as you see there, low line is good for 32.45. Track's still cooling off, but I'll leave the quali lines alone for now. Lap 3, lap 3. On the second go around, 178 again. I think I charged the turn a little bit harder. You can see we're just not down to that white line. Then for the high line, you're gonna brake just before you get to the start of the safer barrier. I feel like I overdrove 3 and 4 a little bit. It's just hard for me to tell here. There you go. That's good for 32.5. So, track temp at 79. Somebody might be able to break into the 32.3s. Quality's just tough for me here. But if you're looking at 83, look, even 78 now. If you're like at 83 degrees for your quali session, probably expect high 32.4, low 32.5. Actually, no, probably still in the 32.4. So, darn, man. Okay, so anyway, call this again. For race, we're gonna start at 50 and just see how it feels from there, because this is a pretty not overly tight, but it's not loose. So you're trying to get your rotation without really killing your right rear and also not killing your right front. And getting ahead on the brake bias seems to help. We're actually going to go down one more click on that. So, I've had about 70 laps practice worth so far. Bulk of that being a 40 lap practice run not too long ago. I overcooked the right front just a little bit, and I was really just trying to see what the limit is and what you can get. So, overcooked the right front a little bit. Last lap. Simple early lifts to start off your run. As your right front goes away, you will probably be trail braking a little bit. Lift just before your closest point to the wall into turn 1. Oh yeah, don't touch the apron transition, of course. Upsets the car. Same thing for 3 and 4. .3, little bit of brake. You can see we're full throttle, but I'm tracking out to the wall fairly late. Kind of almost Texas style. A little bit of the same with 3 and 4. You don't really want to be tracking out to the wall until almost the end of that safer barrier. Gonna quickly point out my marker for 3 and 4. Pause right here. And it's kind of like this. It's not so much a crossover gate in the catch fence, but that's pretty well my liftoff point for 3 and 4. If you're on the high line, maybe wait until just before the track condition light. But we'll definitely be going over that. Now you saw me cutting the front stretch apron for my qualifying runs. I don't really know if it's detrimental to you to do that every lap in a race run. I've never tested it. I just don't think it's beneficial. It might be. Absolutely feel free to find that out for yourself. I just don't think it's beneficial because kind of think about this. You're turning this car without banking. And I feel like that really, really rough transition back onto the banking past the start finish line is just not good for your right front. We're actually going to wait until the fall off stops to really test that. Because right now we are coming to complete lap 6 and fall off is easily half a tenth to tenth a lap. A little bit of brake, get to that white line. You can just pretty much ride full throttle all the way till you're lifting for 3 and 4. And you see where I'm just kind of missing that apron line in turns 1 and 2. It's just slightly slower. But another downside to that is it's at the same time slightly more temperature buildup in the right front. It's really minuscule, but if you can hit that apron line consistently almost every lap, I guarantee you, you're going to be pulling top 5s almost every race. See right there. The lefts just have that grip to really launch the car out of the corner. Got some sun back onto the track, so could easily expect the lap time to fall off by a tenth or two in a couple laps. A little bit early on throttle there. I mean, the car made it, but I had to force it just a little bit. Let me show you what happens when you're on throttle too early. So, same lift off, throttle here. The car is pushing, you gotta lift. And even if you really try to crank the wheel to the left to make that exit, you're not going to. You have to lift. And then on the flip side for 3 and 4, you can get away with it a little bit more for turn 3 and 4. But just make sure you're paying really close attention to kind of that optimal throttle point for both corners of the track. You can see, just pick up that time. Pick up all that time back. 34.0. Lift. Hook that apron line. Now, just kind of quick caution for as far as running the middle line. I have no idea what it is, but it's like if you hit this sort of specific line in both turns, kind of somewhere around the middle line, and then early center corner to late center corner, it's like this strip where it's just out of nowhere your left front just loses grip. I don't think it's the right front losing grip, because you would just be sent to the wall if that's the case. It always feels to me like the left front is just, for a split moment, no grip whatsoever. And once you burn through the fall off, I'll start running the middle line to show you guys, but just be very careful if you're running the middle line here. There's just this strip in the corners where it feels like your left front just loses all grip if you hit it right. In fact, that might have even been it there. We were just running it through that whole line, so there's no sudden loss of grip. You can see, get to this white line, be patient on throttle. You're not really tracking out to the wall until the end of the safer barrier off of turn 2. Let's go down a couple clicks. About lap 15, 16 in now for this run. Your fall off should be stopping probably somewhere around lap 20 in a run. And just depending on the track temp, it's going to be somewhere in the 34.2 range to the low 34.5 range, I want to say. Just depending on track temp, whether you're at 78 degrees, 84 degrees, just make sure you're paying attention to that, because if you're just cruising in your run and then out of nowhere you're 2/10 slower, but you feel like you've been really caring for your tires, that's just the track warming up. It is not you. But at the same time, it's really important you're aware of that and you're not going in chasing lap time. That's how you just cook the right front. You make it mad. You lose all your speed. You're gonna fall back through the field. See, I'm just being patient on throttle. You're just kind of really finding that point to get back on throttle to where the car still feels happy out of the corner is the best way I can put it. See, I missed it a little bit there. It's not much, but this is what's going to separate you from back half top 10 to podium, are the people that can hit that line consistently lap after lap. This is lap 20 here. This one is going to clock in at low 34.3. So could probably say the track temp is probably like 81 right now. ,82 degrees, fluctuating. If you got a lot of cloud cover coming and going, you just really be aware of how the car feels, your lap times. But just no matter what, don't go into chasing lap times mode or chasing positions mode. I really feel like your speed here is going to be very dependent on keeping your right front happy, because this thing is barely breaking loose in my opinion, at least in how it feels to me. Not so much the best line there, and we're going to flirt with the wall. And we're just going to dump it all the way down and see what happens. I don't recommend starting at 42% though for your race, just a little bit too much fuel for that perhaps still. So let's go ahead and see how middle and high lines compare. Oh, yep, don't do that, of course. Two clicks up on the brake bias. You can see just how much time I'm losing. I don't like the high line here for 87s. It doesn't feel natural to me at all. It feels better in 3 and 4. And kind of how the shape of the corner entry is a little more natural to 87s versus with turn 1. It's not even really the high line, that's more like the middle line. That's a proper high line 3 and 4. .4. We're going to compare to low line right now. You can see you gain it back, or the high line is gaining back to us right now. It's a little more prevalent off of 3 and 4. That's a 391. Just 100 slower. And so that's where I think the low line is better. You just get better natural rotation from like early center to exit on both corners. We're gonna come on in and pit. Take 2 right side tires, no fuel. Actually, we'll add a couple gallons. Tough pit road to make. I would definitely brake once you see the Sunoco sign. We will add 3 gallons.
Pit box in 10.
Let's just say you're pitting at lap 50, you probably will need like 13
5,
gallons in the tank.
3, 2, 1. Right here.
81, 83, so could do a little bit better at preserving that right front. I do think it's from running the high line. That's just my personal thoughts on how the car feels. Put the brake bias up. Little sketchy on pit exit, be careful of that. So 34.43 was our last lap. And just be careful for the first couple laps. Really, really good natural rotation, of course. But again, keep your same lift-off markers. Follow the same principles. Be patient on throttle. Hit your marks. Because if you're really driving it hard, trying to take advantage of your right side tires, you're just gonna burn off your natural advantage much sooner than you want. You see 33.13. I'm gonna try the high line. Feels a lot better. Oh boy, aside from that. And so, because right side tires feel so much better, I would recommend taking right sides for pit stop occasions, possibly as early as lap 35, hell, maybe even 30, I'm not sure. The 4 tires may eventually be faster, but I don't really think you can ever beat natural rotation with this car unless it's like too much that you're almost wrecking loose. 33.491. was off the corner, in fact. And then, of course, if your race is green up until, or if your race is going green till the green flag pit stops, like always, take your right side tires, add in 7 or 8 gallons of fuel, typically. Let's see here. Yeah, 11 gallons, 34. So odds are each gallon is probably going to get you 3 laps. So say you pit at lap 50, 40, 13 gallons at a lap 50 pit stop. 13 gallons in the gas tank when you're leaving pit road is very likely going to get you to the end of the race. I would leave with 14 at minimum just to be safe. 33.5. Let me get one more lap here, and then we're gonna try to see those middle line like sudden grip losses that I was mentioning. And fall off seeming to level off a little bit of 33.7. So gonna try to hit this middle line. Yeah, it's tough to spot, and in addition, for whatever reason with this particular car setup, I'm just not really feeling the fronts all that well. Yeah, I had it there. It just didn't look sudden. And I don't know if that's because it's the car set or the track. Chicagoland has not been updated in quite some time. And yeah, there it is right there. I'm just slow. And with Chicagoland coming back to some of the real life NASCAR schedules this year, I really hope we get a rescan of Chicagoland, hopefully within the coming year or so. If anything, at least an art refresh. But I think a rescan is gonna be the way to go. Yeah, it's kind of there. It's really, really tough to say. You just really got to get out and practice and feel it. Find where it is. Find where you got to be careful. But just be very careful if you're running above the first seam. Slightly too early on throttle. As we can see, 34.0. Perhaps could have, just for sake of balance, thrown in a couple more gallons of fuel. And see how that affects us long run. Don't touch that apron, genius. And yeah, we are about done here. Finish out this lap. See if I can get a good one. There you go. 2 consecutive laps at 34.124 to end the practice run. How about that for consistency? But one thing that I really want to see is the track temperature for right now. That's a big piece of the puzzle. Uh, 82. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So, really to sum up, what you're going to want to do for Chicagoland, hit your marks consistently. If you're running low line, or I really think low line is going to be the way to go unless track use is like 100%. Just know I did not test that here. We're at 45%. It's a good middle of the road. But I do encourage you to go on in, set your track state to 100%, and see how that feels. See if the high line's faster with that much track use. It could be. It very well could be. But more than anything, practice long run, practice consistency and hitting your marks. Get that white paint. There's grip down there. It helps your rotation. It helps your launch out of the corner. 2 tires earlier than you think, possibly. Of course, green flag stops. Take your 2 tires, a few gallons of fuel. You're good to go. You get a caution lap 30. I would say even take 2 tires there. Again, I'm not sure, but once you're past halfway, definitely take right side tires under yellow for sure. You're just not going to beat the natural rotation, in my opinion. And I think track position is going to be pretty big here. With 87s at Chicagoland, it's a fairly difficult track to pass. Chicagoland is one of those places that really needs hot track temperatures. And in the last 3 visits, including this coming week now, it's been fairly cool track temps. The hottest I've seen is low 90s, and that's probably being generous. Like the last time that Chicagoland had a track temperature of 100 plus, we were probably looking at almost 2 years ago, if even longer than 2 years ago. I did not race that week. I don't think I had Chicagoland yet, but that's about the last time Chicagoland gave us a hot track temperature. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. I hope this helps. Good luck. Please feel free to ask anything in the comments. Heck, even just let me know how your race went. And I will see you next time around for Martinsville. Take care.